couple of days.
Okay, I thought we were going to talk about Dion Waiters, but then he agrees to a 4-year, $52 million deal with Miami. So who do you want to talk about?
Well, look, Dion Waiters, apparently, like, the rent on Waiters Island is really good, beachfront property there. The Heat took a big swing trying to go after Gordon Hayward, and they didn't get him. And so their move, obviously, is to keep their guys home. I think the 4-year deal surprised some people. It was a longer deal than people were expecting for Waiters, and he had been talking to the New York Knicks. The Knicks had a lot of interest in bringing him to New York, which I know the tabloids there were already excited about. But now that they don't get him, they now go and look back at Derrick Rose, who they had an interest in bringing back, but only at the right number. Derrick obviously met with the Clippers in LA on Wednesday, and so Derrick's got a little market that's forming around him, and he actually may end up going back to New York because Dion Waiters didn't take the Knicks money.
What's up with Chauncey Billups not getting the Cavs front office job? Not that we want him to leave ESPN because he's cool.
I know. Yeah, I know. I mean, apparently, I think people misread that. Like, if you're Dan Gilbert, you want a guy like Chauncey Billups. As Chris Haynes and Mark Spears just reported, their offer to him not only was low, but it was very low around the league. Like, he would have been one of the lowest paid GMs in the league if he would have taken Dan Gilbert's offer. It was less than $2 million. And from what I'm told, it's not even just that it was a lowball offer. When they first started talking, I don't think there was much communication beyond that lowball offer. I don't think that the long protracted period things really were negotiated. I don't think they were going back and forth. If you're Chauncey Billups and you're in a position like that, you don't take that gig without knowing, one, that they really want you, two, that they're paying you to walk away from a good gig, and three, that you're going to have some stability in Cleveland going forward. Because as you know, we've been talking about what happens after next year with LeBron James and his player option.
Ramona Shelburne, she's everybody's favorite.
It is with much regret that I announced that I am leaving SportsCenter.
Bottom line, he just came out too soon.
We're here to extend the program of that little kid who was going to be on SportsCenter because we have the Hot Take program for youth, and coincidentally, the first subject happens to be my nephew. Somehow he qualified. That's Abel Pasley. How old are you?
5.
Full transparency.
9.
Mm-hmm. Just to get things rolling, can you say Royals, like Kansas City Royals?
Royals.
And then the Warriors. Say Warriors.
Warriors.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, you're starting to come around because they used to sound like the same word. You just flat out, I'm a homer for Seattle. You're wearing a Russell Wilson jersey.
So I'm wearing them right here.
I know. So how can you be objective?
I don't know.
All right. How do you think they're going to do this season?
Great. I think they're going to go Super Bowl and win it.
Do you think they're past that whole thing, the Richard Sherman, Russell, the whole deal?
I'm still with the Richard Sherman Camp Chancellor thing.
What?
No,
What'd you say?
The Camp Chancellor, Eric Thomas, Richard Sherman thing?
That's the three good defensive backs.
Right.
You listed them.
In that one Super Bowl, should they have handed the ball to Marshawn Lynch instead of trying to throw for a touchdown?
That was bad.
What was bad?
He didn't want Marshawn Lynch to run it in. He can run it in.
You think Marshawn would have scored?
He would have because he's really good.
Tough beat, I got to tell you that. Now, you're in Marshawn's circle of trust. Where's Marshawn's head right now? Where's he going to be for the season with Oakland? And how are you with it?
I'm with it as mad. If he plays us, I'm going to be so mad, and I'm going to be like, we're going to kick your butt.
Can we say kick your butt on television?
No.
Let's turn it to baseball. Mariners still an outsider to make the playoffs, right? I mean, they need to be more consistent.
Well, they need a pitching to come back. The pitching.
Was Felix Hernandez's arm gone?
I think so. He doesn't throw 100-mile-hour pitches, but he is good because he gets Ks. He lost the Warriors game.
Royals or Warriors?
Warriors. Okay, the baseball team.
Who won the NBA championship?
Cubs.
No, that's World Series.
Who won the NBA title?
Oh, the Warriors.
You know who drafted Kevin Durant?
The Sonics?
Oh!
Yeah, boom.
Save our Sonics!
And if you went head-to-head against Stephen A. Smith, would you destroy him in any debate?
Sure, if he's on the basketball team, I think so.
He works for us. He's He's a person.
He's a football?
He played basketball in college, but he's a commentator who has hot takes.
I think I would question if he's not in basketball.
Your parents saying it, I escorted you. Butterfly coach. That's a joke, okay? 13D? Are you kidding me? 13D?
Wow. Uncle Kenny really sprung.
Extra leg room. One more time. Royals and Warriors, back to back.
Royals and Royals.
Royals and Royals. Okay, well, Abel, we're out of the gate in this new program. You got us off the ground.
Are we going to the Sounders yet?
Sounders, we had to kill the Sounders. They didn't make this cut. Sorry. You were fantastic. We were terrible.
We were.
I just kept doing good
You
time.
just kept bringing the noise is what you did.
Well, you brought the noise too because you just talked about some stuff about sports. And we didn't do Sounders. They got killed.
Good try, soccer. You almost made it.
We're all in the same room at a big conference table, and everyone's talking over each other, and I got confused. And what the hell are we doing right now?
Yeah, our new digs are like NBA Summer League players. Works in progress. All right, here we go. Some of the Jason Tatum. 21 points, 7 rebounds in his Summer League debut Monday. The Celtics got him, and he's got one proud NBA mama.
You want him to do so well, but you give him that pregame speech too, like, just be calm down and do your best, and it'll all work out. But I was so proud of him. I mean, 21 points in his debut. I did get on him, though. I was like, I need 3 more rebounds, a double-double.
And afterwards somebody asked him, hey, there's shades of Kobe Bryant in your play. And he said, you know what? Kobe Bryant, that's my favorite player. And then he said, he was, and then I went to the Celtics. he wised up there. Boy, he looks wise against San Antonio. Getting up and down right there, and then gets the ball in the wing, and he goes yard right there, up and down. Take another look. Now, while he was doing that, the Spurs' Bryn Forbes had 31 on 6 of 8 shooting from 3, but he wasn't the 3rd pick in this year's draft, so he gets the shaft on the highlight. Tatum goes for 23 and 10. Celtics finished 2nd in the warm-up basketball game. Spurs beat him 81-70. All right, Markelle Fultz. This is another young guy you're going to hear a lot about, and it was against the Sixers that Tatum and the Celtics put on a show in their opener. Fultz putting on a show in this one. The 3 there, 3 here. Fultz, University of Washington, up in Kenny's country.
Yep.
23 points. He also had 6 turnovers, 5 assists. Drives the lane, finishes there. Pick and roll. Step back, Bobby Jack. Take another look. Bobby Jack Sumler, great shooter. Fultz, 23-13 in the 4th. But the Jazz won that one.
Well, last week, our friend Eldridge Rakasner, formerly of the NBA, was remarking on the huge money someone just got. And he said, so-and-so just got $20 million, and I've never heard of him. I used so-and-so because I can't remember who Eldridge Rakasner was actually talking about. Also, I had never heard of the guy either. I have, and so has Eldridge Rakasner, heard of Swaggy P. How could we not? Swaggy P is a pretty standout name. His real name, Nick Young. And he didn't get 20 mil, but he did get to join the Warriors, who win a lot, and leave the Lakers, who don't. How about some standout moments from Swaggy P? The game-winning 3, coming right here, 2016. That was way back in 2016. He had to fight his own teammate to get the ball, buried that. Neil, you can't teach this stuff. Bang. What else has he done?
Interesting. We'll come back to Forzo till you got some friends here.
You feel me? We back in the building. Y'all thought we was gone. My man Jay Lynn was doing his thing. Jay Hill doing his thing.
He's very reserved. That was the time his friends got way too hyped about a win. Although, when you don't win much, it's kind of good to get excited when you do. Then the very cool celebration on 3. That didn't work out. See, he turned. He thought he hit it, but he didn't. So up to the Warriors he goes. So here's how Kevin Durant welcomed his new teammate. No words, just that picture suit he did.
He threw some shade on him.
That's what they call it. Well, they can, be friends from now on out. During the 2016 NBA Finals, Young went out on Twitter and said, all this passing getting me mad. He's talking about how well Golden State moves the ball. Young backs it up. He's only had about 1 assist per game over his career. The only active guard who's averaged fewer assists, Dante Jones. And after playing for the Lakers over the last 4 years, he's certainly headed for better things. Golden State. Young, a career .319 win percentage, the worst of any active player. In fact, Warriors have won more games over the last 3 seasons than Young has in his entire
we're in really good shape right now to have this opportunity. Past is the past. It's definitely fueled us. Why not take care of business?
Redemption. The Warriors are NBA champions again.
That they are. Mike Breen, and according to his partner Jeff Van Gundy, playing that on a loop for many Junes to come may not really be that much of a stretch. But many teams in the NBA stretching every dollar in every conceivable scenario to try and catch them as NBA free agency hits its third day. How will the West be won? With a ton of firepower. You know the deal. What's already been done? Let's take a look. Here's what's next. You got the Hayward watch coming up. Where's Melo headed? You know the deal with the no-trade clause. And the next tier of free agents still to be decided, guys like Otto Porter and Danilo Gallinari. Words that will literally make NBA fans stop. Woj has news. He literally was just on his phone just like a second away. If I could just tear you away from it for 1 second. Adrian is here. First things first, we talked about Hayward here, the biggest, most sought-after free agent available at this moment. What are you hearing? What's your phone telling you?
Well, as we speak, the Jazz are still in a meeting with him in San Diego, where Hayward has an off-season home. Jazz general manager Dennis Lindsey, their coach Quinn Snyder, his best friend on the team, Joe Ingles, who just agreed to a $50 million plus deal the other day. And part of their ownership group drove down from L.A. last night to San Diego, and they're making their case, getting really the last crack here at Gordon Hayward before he's got to make his decision.
Let's think about Hayward here. In his 7 years in the league, he's increased his scoring each of his first 7 years, blossoming into a terrific player. Could be ending up back in Utah. Pretty sure George Hill won't after the Ricky Rubio news. So where might he be headed?
And that was a big part of it. Gordon Hayward loved the idea of Ricky Rubio as their point guard there. That was part of the reason for that trade.
Okay.
George Hill, sources tell Ramona Shelburne and I, he is in L.A. today, meeting with the Lakers. They're in a meeting as we speak with their management, Magic Johnson, Rob Pelinka. And they're discussing a one-year deal at a fairly significant number with injuries, with a toe injury that lingered all through last year. The market hasn't been kind to George Hill this summer. He wanted a longer-term contract. What he may be able to get here in L.A. now is a partnership with Lonzo Ball for 1 year, and the Lakers keep their salary cap space going forward with Hill. If they do a one-year deal, they're talking seriously. There's interest on both sides.
That toe injury really hampered them in their playoff series against Golden State. So if you're a Utah Jazz fan watching us somewhere around this country, keep your eye on Southern California, whether it's San Diego with Hayward or in L.A. with George Hill. Last thing, Carmelo Anthony, the no-trade clause. We obviously saw what's happened to the Knicks organization with Phil Jackson, Steve Mills ascending possibly all the way to the top. We'll wait to see about that. What is the latest on this guy?
Well, Cleveland had been he had been willing to waive his no trade for Cleveland throughout this process. That was the one team. What we reported last night would change is Houston is now on that list. He is open to waiving his no trade if Houston or Cleveland can find an avenue to get a deal done in New York. The reason it's changed with Houston, Chris Paul went from L.A. to Houston, teamed up with James Harden, and that's put Houston in the game here.
I want to ask you one quick follow-up on Carmelo. We're going to keep talking to you because obviously the news is continuing to break here. Real quick on Melo, the previous relationship with Mike D'Antoni in New York fizzled. D'Antoni comes back. He's the coach of the year. Would he have to acquiesce to D'Antoni now instead of the other way around in New York?
I think it is a concern. It is going to have to be talked through. I think the difference and what the Rockets are hoping for, it will not be Carmelo's team. He's going to be a third option on that team. The ball, they're not playing through Carmelo Anthony the way Mike D'Antoni had to play through him in New York. And I think, listen, this is a league about accumulating talent right now to go at Golden State. If he ends up in Houston, management there believes Mike D'Antoni and Carmelo Anthony are going to have to figure it out.
They'll have to coexist. As Daryl Morey said, it is indeed a weapons race. Utah's biggest weapon for the moment, they hope, is Gordon Hayward. Back to Hayward. What's the timetable on this sort of stuff? We waited till 12:01, breathlessly following all your tweets the other night. But now, what's the timetable for him? Because he seems like he's the biggest fish out there at this very moment.
Well, listen, going into this, he had hoped maybe 24, 48 hours. But I think that this is very likely going to be a really difficult decision for him because he's got a great situation in Utah. They've got good young talent. He's become an all-star there. He's playing with a great general manager, a coach who's built an offensive system around him. Miami, Boston are very attractive. There's a lot to like there. So this will take on a life of its own. To predict how long it takes someone to make this kind of a life decision, I don't think this is going to be easy. And I do know in talking to people close to Gordon, He's really laboring over this.
No question about it. Obviously, in Boston, the possible reunion with Brad Stevens, what a story that would be. Or what a better story, maybe a small market franchise like Utah being able to keep somebody of his talent. But let you get back to the phone because I know you've been eyeing it. It's nothing personal against me. I get it. Adrian, thanks a lot. We'll have you back as soon as anything breaks. I have a feeling that might be pretty soon. Adrian, thank you very much. Still to come, deals for Curry, Livingston, Iguodala done. Durant soon, making the Warriors' biggest remaining priority what? You might be surprised at the answer from our Warriors insider. That's coming up in just a
First pick in the 2017 NBA Draft. The 76ers select Markelle Fultz.
It was unbelievable, really. Something I've been dreaming about.
He's already promising some big-time things. The Sixers did not get much big-time production out of the point guard position last year. Philly's point guards averaged 9 points a game, with only the Bulls averaging fewer. In fact, the last Sixers guard of any kind to average 20 a game, AI. That was over 10 years ago. Now he's playing 3-on-3 for Ice Cube. No pressure there, Markelle. The scoring wasn't an issue for Fultz in college. Put up over 23 points per game a year ago, and his one-and-done year at Washington would happen to be the most of any major conference player. Fultz in action tonight. He's going to be taking on Tatum, so the 1-3 swap rears its head again. Mark J. Spears is in Salt Lake City, so you tell me, tip-off 7 Eastern, less than an hour away. You're on the court. What's the buzz for these two getting together for the first time of many, I would think?
Well, everybody's excited about Markelle Fultz's debut. Luck would have it that he would be playing against the Boston Celtics in his first Summer League game. You know, the Celtics decided not to take him, traded down 2 spots with Philly, and instead took the 3rd pick. They were asked, he was asked about whether or not it bothered him that the Celtics did that or that he's playing him the first game. And he said, no, it's just another Summer League game. I don't believe that. I met this kid at the Hoop Summit last year, and I asked him about Josh Jackson being the #1 ranked kid on ESPN. He said, well, I think I'm the #1 ranked kid. So this kid's pretty competitive. He's giving us some coach speak. I think he'll be pretty fired up to play against the Celtics after they passed on him.
Hey, Mark, on the other side with Tatum, I got to ask you this. Ainge famously said the reason we traded down is because the guy we wanted at 1, we could get at 3, which leads me to believe they're super high on him if they were going to select him at 1. I know all the talk is about Fultz, but what's this other kid saying?
Yeah. Well, I mean, hey, look, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, and Danny Ainge really liked Tatum. You know, behind us a little while ago, Jaylen Brown, the second-year player of the Celtics, was working with Tatum, and Tatum's kind of like lodged to his hip now. This is his mentor, even though he's only been in the league a year. So both of them are working hard. They're the first one in, the last one's out, just like he was a year ago as a rookie. So keep an eye on those two guys, but I don't think Tatum's going to be a big impact player for the Celtics this year, kind of like Jaylen Brown, probably about 10 to 15 minutes a game. But the Celtics certainly have excitement with these two young guys working together to become great.
Yeah, the future is indeed bright, not to mention all those draft picks. On the other side here, Chauncey Billups has turned down the Cavs general manager position. You spoke to Mr. Big Shot about passing on this shot. What is he saying? Why?
Well, it was somewhat surprising. Hey, look, there's only 1 of 30 of these jobs in the NBA, and he passed on it, and he just told me it wasn't the right fit and it wasn't the right time. He said there was a perception out there that his family did not want him to go to Cleveland. He said that was completely false, that they had his back into the entire thing if he wanted to come to Cleveland. I also asked him, I said, hey, did you consult with LeBron James? He said, no. I said, well, is LeBron's situation in Cleveland, the fact that he could be a free agent in 2018, a factor as well? And he said, no, it wasn't. He did consult with Tyronn Lue, the coach, longtime friend. But all in all, Chauncey passes, and Cleveland's still looking for a general manager. I mean, actually a president.
No question about it. As weird as it sounds, the team that's been to 3 straight NBA finals and has the best player on planet Earth needs somebody to head the operation. Unbelievable. It's not going to be Chauncey. Who will it be?
You should take the job, man. It pays well.
That's true. That's true. Let me see if I can get out of my contract here in the next hour.
You got a good job,
minutes.
though. You're good.
That's true. And you're going to be watching some good players today at the Summer League. Mark, thank you very much. Tatum and Fultz, and I'll keep an eye on that Cavs job. Dan Gilbert, if you're watching, call me. Summer League, Thunder, Knicks. Speaking of teams that need some leadership, the Cavs need some. The Knicks need a GM, too. We talked about that with Woj early, and Markel Brown putting the Thunder up early. You know what the Summer League's about. It's about making a name for yourself, maybe trying to get yourself on a training camp roster, and Brown did his part, 20 points, 2 steals. Damian Dotson from downtown. Steve Mills, who might be the team president, is at the Summer League. A lot of decisions to make with the Knicks. Josh Hustis will finish 99-87, although the score tends to be immaterial at the NBA Summer League. It's about making a name for yourself. How about the Magic and the Mavs? Love this kid, Jonathan Isaac. Played his college basketball one-and-done year at Florida State, so from North Florida, shifting on down to Central Florida. He's been great. He struggled shooting in his first game over the weekend, but nobody's stopping that in the paint. His rebounding and block shots were there in his first game. Puts a little more weight on that body. He's going to be some kind of player. Christian Wood from downtown. And again, this is about guys that nobody's really ever heard of, trying to make a name for themselves. He did a nice job today. 86-76. The Mavericks take it over.